The term rat race has been around for a pretty long time. The meaning is constantly evolved, but the essence has pretty much stayed the same. The purpose of a rat race is to create an endless loop for the subject, placing them in a position where they move towards a goal, but there's no end in sight. So, what I've seen recently is something I call the new rat race. You will own nothing. You've heard about the modern rat race, right? The whole 9 to 5s, 8 to 10 work hour days, 5 days a week, 40 hours, which at this point, you're probably lucky if that's all you got to do. Buying unaffordable things, spending beyond your means, the great American dream of living a lifestyle above your income level. It keeps the masses productive, busy, gives them a purpose and all that good stuff, but the overall topic has been beaten into the ground already. It comes with monotony, lack of freedom, time demands, and potential burnout. We get it. But the way things are shaping up in the coming years, that system is going to get a whole lot more difficult to operate within for multiple reasons. And these reasons all tie together like a web. So I'll start with this. One thing that's been running rampant lately is something I call hyperproductivity, especially in these jobs. Eliminate this position, consolidate that position, phase out that other position. We don't need that many people or this, that, or the third. So many companies are doing this thing where in the past, positions were more specialized, one person to one task or job description. But now, with all these attempts to cut costs, increase profit, and reduce overhead, you have one person doing the job that would be previously held by two, three, or even four people. They're trying to get every ounce of productivity out of you. Hell, some people aren't even lucky enough to clock out anymore because they're basically on call 24/7. In the past, things were a bit more relaxed, but times have changed. They're tracking everything you do and they're trying to get more out of less. And the sad part is, if you don't do it, then somebody will. Or maybe it's just nobody wants to work, right? That seems to be a common sentiment these days. But look, companies also don't want to pay anything either. If you look at the unemployment rates, depending how accurate you believe them to be, besides that scamdemic from 2020, it really hasn't fluctuated that much. So what that means is when you go to a store and you see three employees, and it's not because nobody wants to work, it's partially also because nobody wants to hire anybody anymore, which goes back to my point about hyperproductivity. These places are trying to hire the least amount of people, operate at the lowest cost, and get the most in return. But that's just business. I get it. But let's just say nobody wants to work, which sure, I do agree with to a certain extent, but does it really surprise you? Does anybody really want to work 2 to 3 jobs or 4 jobs or 5 jobs just to get taxed to hell and barely get by, then get most of their income eaten up by other expenses that are basically unavoidable? Income tax, state tax, road tax, wheel tax, sales tax, property tax, insurance. It's like, damn, you get taxed before you get paid, then you get taxed once you get paid. There's a percentage that's already accounted for before you ever even spend a dime. So you're just going to have some people who say, F it, I'll just get that one job, if that, stay under the poverty line, maybe pop out a kid or two to get more of my tax returns and get some assistance and maybe just call it a day. Or I'll just steal or scam or the multitude of other options. Nothing really surprises me at this point. But one thing that millennials and onwards have particularly done is that they've changed the way that people look at monetary pursuits. This generation will walk off a job just like that, for better or worse. But you also have many who have side hustles or just part-time business endeavors or even entrepreneurship. Sure, it's not a cure-all, but again, is the issue really that people don't want to work? Or is the problem these companies trying to get over on people through posting ghost jobs that aren't actually available, doing 5 rounds of interviews for barely entry-level positions, requiring high-priced degrees or 10 years of experience for barely middle-class pay? Man, I got a whole video coming about the job market in general. I got a lot to talk about. But from my point of view, they're just probing. They're trying to see what they can get away with. People have no loyalty to these companies anymore for the same reason the companies aren't loyal to the workers. Money. I mean, yeah, I love my money too, so it's going to be a disconnect one way or the other. If they're going to remove all these benefits and packages and give raises once every 5 years, people are just going to jump jobs and jump ship to improve their situations. And even though I mentioned earlier that people are quicker or more willing to jump out of jobs nowadays, there are plenty who still just aren't able to. They've got high student loan payments every month, rent that just went up again, or a car payment that's just way higher than ever. Part of it is that they have a desire to upgrade and constantly spend. But another part is just the rising cost of everything, to where the middle tier is being shrunken. You either get something really, really nice and pay exponentially more, or you get something cheap and have constant problems. How was somebody supposed to build up their savings when the costs go up, but the pay stays the same? So to solve this problem, people are getting roommates or they're getting into these janky relationships where they got to stay together to survive and hope that they stay off each other long enough so no babies start popping up. It's before we start mentioning the lifestyle creep or the golden handcuffs. It's a lot. It's all around you. There's ads marketing to you. There's people flashing their lifestyles in front of you. There's people pushing Hallmark and rom-com and white picket fence fantasies. It's easy to be like, I want that too. And that's how you get trapped. And speaking of marketing, it seems these days you can go into a store and see a brand new box of cereal, walk past it. They'll open up Instagram or social media, Facebook, whatever. You scroll for 2 seconds and you see the same damn box of cereal in your face again, right on the feed. It's gotten to a point where we're being sold to 24/7. I don't think people understand how powerful marketing and psychology is, even to the way the products are placed within the store. These companies study us. They know more about us than we know ourselves. And these companies have $1 million campaigns and budgets to run. So in the past, you might have seen a billboard or a commercial, a newspaper ad, or a sign somewhere. But nowadays, we carry around a personal marketing device every single day. Life has become an advertisement. So now, with all these factors, rising set costs and encouragement to buy more stuff, people are making the same, but they're spending more. And where does that money come from? Well, it's money you haven't even made yet. You will own nothing. Right now, there's basically an entire generation of people who've grown up, been raised, and been trained to prepare for a lifetime of debt. It's promoted as the default state of being. Everything around us is going around in price. Doesn't matter. What's one more thing to go into debt for? What's one more hand reaching into your bank account, taking what's already barely there? Subscriptions, financing, leasing, renting, payment plans. The idea of buying something and actually owning it is seeming like a thing of the past. Like, yeah, leveraging money in different ways isn't necessarily a bad thing, but the goal now is clearly to get you to drag it out as long as possible. Anything they can do to get you to spend your money before you make it. Your phone is leased, your car and furniture and big purchases are financed, your entertainment is tied to a subscription, your education is on one giant payment plan, your house is overpriced. Even your music is rented at this point. Like, man, we used to have CD players and MP3 players and CD collections and all that stuff. People don't even do that no more. At this point, a lot of people's jobs is rented too. It's almost like they're on borrowed time until the company decides they need to restructure or reconfigure or close the department or technology catches up fast enough to eliminate your position. I don't know, man. It just feels like we're going to get to a point where money isn't even a physical thing anymore. It's just going to be numbers on a screen. Or maybe it's like that already. Who knows? And I haven't mentioned it before, but if we just fast forward or look at some of the elderly folks around us, ask yourself this question. What incentives are there to have a group of people who have very little taxable income and don't contribute as much to the system? Answer, there are very little, which is why I believe they've been warning us about things like Social Security might run out, or the value of the dollar might drop at some point, or continue to drop even further. Eventually, the age of retirement is either going to be raised or eliminated completely. 65, why not 70? Why not 75? My theory is the new rat race is about increasing the cost of everything around us just to see how far it can go. Instead of things being built to last, they're being made to break, undercutting people's pay to force them to work more, limit our options to low cost or high cost by crunching the middle tier and the middle class, push our retirement off as long as possible, and then remove full-time roles and benefits from many jobs and make them decentralized, similar to how Uber or DoorDash operate. Like, I'm seeing all these new apartment complexes being built everywhere, seemingly overnight. Meanwhile, the prices of houses are continuing to go up. Like, who is buying this stuff? I don't know, maybe it's linked to these companies buying them all up and turning them into Airbnbs and investment properties, but like, who is affording all this stuff? I don't know, but yeah, the ultimate goal is that owning anything will be a very, very tough proposition for people in the future. And the last thing I always note, the system is not designed for us to get ahead. It's designed to keep us operating within it. Being average is doable, but it's also very tough nowadays. If you're single, no kids, decent income, manageable debt, and relatively good spending habits, navigating this environment will definitely be easier, even if you don't have a ton of money. But if you want the things that people had the past generations, it might be a tougher hill to climb. All right, I said a lot, but hey, I don't know anything. I'm just a guy talking on the screen. Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to drop a like below and leave a comment sharing your thought. Appreciate you for making it this far. Be sure to check out my newsletter where I share notes just like this straight to your email inbox. And until next time, subscribe for more. Peace.